Hey guys, welcome back. It's Lucid, and we're back with Mountain Arena. I'm going to try to get through 2 turns this episode, and we'll try to go along kind of quickly. So, without further ado, a message has arrived from Micklin, sending Vanheim a nap-ending message this turn. I'm not ready to fight on my northern flank, which may be a problem, but I've got like 125 sacreds in the south, and it seems best to be able to put them to use. Yeah, that's that old saying, standing armies don't stay standing very long. They often go off in March. So, yeah. Yeah, these 125 sacreds are burning a hole through Micklin's pocket. I'd not been committed to fighting Vanheim next, but the geography really pushes one towards doing so. And I don't think going west to join the Agartha-Tiernanag war with Lanka or east to mess with Yomi to kill off the rest of Niflheim has much profit potential. Message from Lanka. Hey, this is the weirdest turn ever. Agartha is a good bloke, and we've had good friendly Diplo all game. This turn, we advised him to end his nap with us before Tiernanag loses all his armies. It seemed like he was holding back because of friendly Diplo, and taking advantage of that didn't feel very sporting. So our first battle should be in spring of our 3rd year. A mercenary company of the homeless frost giants reached out to us as well. This, by the way, is super sporting. I love that he did this. I think what he doesn't know is Agartha was probably less being friendly and more recovering after that throne fiasco a few turns ago. Well, quite a few turns ago now. A mercenary company of homeless frost giants reached out to us as well. We listened to his tale of woe, fleeing from the evils of the elves of Vanheim. Hearing of his great journey across the world and trials and tribunals, they've faced our demonic monkey heart, and we offered them a new home in Tiernanag's cap. Let it be known that the teeth and monkeys of Lanka are generous and caring. Tiernanag's cap. Oh, that's hilarious. The only problem is I don't think, okay, this technically could happen. I was going to say there's no way it could happen. It kind of could. If Niflheim got a lab and they summoned a bunch of long dead, like a couple hundred long dead, and they were really, really smart about not letting their long dead get killed by elves, very hard to do, you could potentially have the Nifl Jarls kill the army and then have the long dead siege a fort, and maybe they could take it. I mean, it's like a shot in the dark. And Tiernanag would have to misplay really heavily to have 3 Nifl Jarls just walk all over him. But who knows? As for the elves of Tiernanag, we have no idea what they're going to do other than make chaos in our lands. We'll probably cut his retreat routes and trap him in our lands. Okay, let's see what happens. Let's start with Lanka. So he gets attacked. I think this was by Long Dad from an event, not a magic phase. We don't see, there's just not a lot of safe places for elves to go. But they haven't attacked. So there's actually almost no progress in the Lanka-Tiernanag war, which is unfortunate. I was really looking forward to it. Tiernanag was, they've suffered some setbacks lately. The only real thing that's happened is we have a Nifl Jarl fighting a she-lord, or she-champion. It doesn't have any gear. I don't think we need to watch that. Niflheim's got a decent little stretch of land. He can't trace income from it, though. I don't think. He needs a fort. But he can... Does he have a lab? He doesn't have a lab either, so he can't trace gem income. I don't know what he's doing, but it's a little funny and probably a little frustrating for people in the game. But funny to us. So that's that. Agartha, we see piling up a lot of dudes here. He pings this. Let's say interesting. So it's got the Apu, whatever you call it. This guy who's a huge badass. Like an amazing catch. And this lady's pretty sick. But yeah, he pings that. He's building up stuff to attack. I mean, honestly, this is not like a doom stack yet. Lanka doesn't have a lot of stuff over here, but I don't know why Lanka would invite Agartha to attack him. I mean, even if he brings these guys up north, he doesn't really, I mean, this is not like a super frightening stack, but Lanka just doesn't have enough to fight that over here, I don't think. Especially while he's fighting elves down here, and then he's fighting all the independents. I mean, Lanka's truly getting a PvE experience over here. He's got horrors over here. Is this like a... Suddenly part of the population turned into some horrors and started killing... A horror cult has taken root. Oh god, he's got a horror cult. On top of an amazing province. That's unfortunate. Okay, anyway, that's enough with that column. Let's come over and take a look at Micklin, because they sent us a message next. They've ended their non-aggression pact with Vanheim. So the question is, can whatever took this... So let's assume Vanheim's going to consolidate these armies. He didn't have a lot of mages. He only had like a few Van Herses. I think Micklin just has a lot more mages. I think if you're Vanheim, you need something for your... Like, we have seen, guys, the kind of use Micklin has made of his mage core, which Micklin, that's one of the things that like people forget. People just think of Micklin as like, oh, you get sacreds everywhere. No, you've got a pretty fucking good mage core. He's so fucking lucky. He's got 30% enchantment bonus. If he beats Vanheim and gets the steel ovens, he also get... Oh yeah, he's got conjuration bonus 20. So ridiculous. What are they going to do to stop him? But anyway, I got on a sidetrack. We have seen the phenomenal use Micklin has made of his mage core. I mean, it is ridiculous. It's just super crazy. Yeah. Like, what is... Yeesh. How is Vanheim going to fight him? Like, Micklin's going to make such good use of his mages. We haven't seen Vanheim do anything. Like, I don't think we've even seen Strength of Giants, Legions of Steel. Like, what good would look like to me for Vanheim is he's got enough dwarves, like maybe 2, to paint, let's say 3, to paint Strength of Giants, Legions of Steel on the Van Herses. All right, that's like step 1. Then he's got 8 or 9 Van Jarls, which is reasonable by this time in the game. That are going to do a lot of air elementals, or they're going to do Storm and Thunderstrike. I think any of those could work. I don't think he has that, though. And if you're going to run at Micklin with like a... We've just seen superb, ridiculously good scripting from Micklin all game long, and we've seen lazy as shit scripting from Vanheim. And you're going to run at him with the Bless, that, by the way, this Bless is not even really set up to capitalize on the Van Heers, right? This is more for the thugs. So these are... You can make Van Heers way, way scarier than they are with this Bless. But this is more like well-rounded, you know, blah, 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 like kind of early, not early game kind of ferocity sort of things. The thing is, he's playing this nation a little bit like you just make a scary... He's playing it like you're like a Juggernaut Van Heer faction, right? Like he's just buffing them with Bless and running in. But he doesn't have a Bless that really makes that work. So I think I caught a mouse in a mousetrap here in my kitchen now. Anywho. Yeah, I think Vanheim's going to get his ass kicked. I mean, if he starts moving these dwarves right here up now, he's got Van Jarls here. He needs to evacuate both of these forts. Probably if he does that, then what's he going to do over here? He's got to have some epic defense here. But Micklin can technically squeeze in this way. I don't know what he's going to do. I mean, he has to get whatever research. This is, I think, the thing. Whatever research he has, it's either needs to be Storm and Thunderstrike or Conjuration 5 for air elementals. He needs to get there and maybe Strength of Giants and Legions of Steel. He needs to have gotten there, hopefully he is, and mobilize every single mage he has. But if he doesn't do both of those things, I don't think there's a chance. All right, coming over. Oh my goodness. Tiernanag is attacking Hinnom inside of Hinnom's capital. And Hinnom has decided to not ride out. He wants to fight in the gateway, which I think is smart, just because these guys are going to blender his stuff in melee. And it'll happen a lot slower. I mean, even just having these guys on the walls. Oh no, he lets them through the gate. They didn't stop at the walls. Oh no. Oh no. What is this guy doing? Coral Blade and a Stone Bird? 28 attack. Holy shit. What does he have? Quickness? How does he get such high attack skill? Experience 2, quickness 2, the blesses 4, magic item bonus 5. Oh, this pearl. "24 defense? And that guy is spooky in melee. Ooh, we've got some pretty cool Melkorts, though. We haven't really seen the Melkorts. A snake bladder stick. Now, these guys have poison resistance. Only 5, though. Kind of not enough. Problem is, this Melkort's going to HP unless he has a Flesh Eater, which he does. But he is set up to do a decent amount of repelling. But I think his defense is going to get... I mean, he's fucking these guys up. How does he have poison damage on him? He's got a lot. He has 3 poison sticks on him. I don't know what is hitting him that causes poison damage. Oh, he's not poison resistance, and he's got a snake bladder stick. He's poisoning himself. Oh no! Does he have regen? He does have regen. Oh god, these demons do not fucking kid around. Yeah, God, they hit so hard. 42 damage with the Great Club with 24 attack and quickness. Magic weapons. Yeah, good luck super combating that. I love this TNG build. I think this has been great. I think he's just my only nitpick with TNG is he's just been very cautious. Overly cautious. I mean, look at this. These demons of the Heavenly Rivers murdered stuff. So did the Celestial Hounds, but they also died. But the Celestial Hounds were key. They basically opened up the door to this whole thing. Otherwise, it could have gotten log jammed with this Melkort in the gate, killing all the warriors of the 5 elements. They opened it up. They let everybody pour through. So they were actually the MVPs for this fight. All right, Hinnom. That was cool. I think, Hinnom kind of struggled figuring out what they were doing. And it was a kind of rough matchup. I think, for Hinnom to have come out on top, they needed to, be very, very technical. They needed to realize what they were going to need. They were going to need probably 300 or 400 archers. And then potentially try to get Melkort super combatants online for dealing with other things. And flaming arrows and... I mean, they were going to need a bunch of stuff. Don't think they had it. So, yeah, it was still really cool. I don't think any number of I don't think you could make fun wagons at a rate to kill the warriors of the 5 elements, but maybe you could. Problem is their defense is high. And if they defense dodge, they only take 1 damage. So I don't know. I think, I don't even know. If I were playing Hinnom, I wasn't allowed to test, I probably would have lost. I think if I were testing and trying to really understand, have a deep understanding of the matchup, I might have been able to come out on top. But this was going to be a very, very hard matchup for Hinnom to win. maybe if they found more sites and got more like long dead chaff and other things, like maybe it could have been a bit better. But they were doing that stuff too. They just might not have found enough magic sites. Like they were definitely site searching death. I don't know how to win this as Hinnom. I hope I could figure it out if I were playing the position though, but it was not obvious. And anyway, cheers, Hinnom. Thanks for putting up a fight. Coming down to Ubar. Ubar, of course, has been in a very bad way with the Yomi peoples. He suffered at first just like minor setbacks, and then Yomi was able to like reinforce more, and it was kind of like this really interesting thing, which I feel like it's like I don't know, almost like anime or comic book. It's like these demon overlords with this undead and demon army, and they're like, "Go forth, my minions," and like the army goes in, and they're like wading into combat, and all their fucking minions die. And they're like, "Oh, we will come back and get our revenge." And they like waddle off the battlefield, like unheard. And they've been just like coming in waves with all of their little minions getting killed, but then like magically they're all back. It's a very cool feel. And I think the change that Illwinter had kind of made to buff Yomi, which was really kind of like fixing a bug, that they didn't have full item slots in their other form. Now it really feels like they can like run off the battlefield and like be back later with more swarms of their minions. I love that. It's really cool. But yeah, not a lot happening here. Not a lot happening here other than basically this looks like it's the beginning of the end. It is not technically over. Ubar can gather an army. If he gets really good kits, maybe on a couple sultans, maybe they can go to Pound Town and just take out some of these Dione. Because that's really all it takes. Like, if he clears out the chaff and can kill 8 or 9 Dione in a big fight, which is possible, it could swing back. And Ubar still has really good sites. Like, they could be contenders. And I think we've covered it. I think we're back to where we started. So let's go ahead and do the next turn, which is turn 35. Okay, message from Micklin. I'm patrolling the swamp between my capital and Vanheim's. Starting this turn, my hope is I'll be able to catch elves sneaking into my lands and jump on them before they can run. The area around my capital is pretty low value. In any case, due to the death scales and blood hunting, I have no idea how I'll do in this war. No data at all on Vanheim's research or air gem stashes, but given their number of forts, they should be ahead of me? Okay, we'll take a look at the research graphs. On the other hand, I'm at a good place. I mean, Micklin's been using a lot of his mages in combat, more than Vanheim. So with that logic, they might be ahead. On the other hand, I'm at a good place massing sacred on my massing sacred power curve. Have +5 attack all the resistances on my bless. I should be able to skirmish effectively against their thugs. I regret forting the Crystal Throne instead of the Throne of Fire, since I think it's too important to move my garrison 20 Ozelotls away to the front. It's a bit sad to have to leave that much military power stuck in one place. This will also be my first raiding war against elves in a multiplayer game, so I expect it to be educational. I finally killed the final candle of Niflheim Dominion that was just around the east of Sarmatia. The capital made it to Cold 1 scales before the global event a few turns back brought it to neutral. But if I'd attacked Niflheim any later, they'd have at least 500 siege defense fortress up. And I don't think I've been able to keep positive income scales in the capital province. It might not seem important, but that one province is 25% of my national gold income. Cool. Message from Ubar. Another round of Dione assault. This turn, I'm going to try to get back all my surrounding territory. So if I manage to HP up army next turn, I'm still unable to put a reliable dent in the Dione. They might lose some to retreating. Okay, that's the other way to kill the Dione, is cut off the retreat routes. Let's start with Ubar. Okay, so Ubar strikes out. Ghouls? Let's look. He's got 4 commanders here. This might be an interesting little raid. Yeah, the evocation advance and cast spells seems to be working. Basically the same thing here, same thing here, same thing here. Yomi tries to hit this. So Yomi now getting beat back a little bit. Ubar took everyone but this one. And this one they ran into a bit of maybe more PD than they were hoping. But loses a lot of mages here. Did he do Mist Form? He did. Yeah. You might should have done Fire Shield. Okay, here's the problem with Mist Form. If you get surrounded and you don't have any protection, those little +1s add up very quickly. Like, very, very quickly. And these guys can fit 2 to a square. I think it'd be a lot better off making sure these Shaitan are like 2 to a square, putting Fire Shield on, and then doing the spells, you know? If you're really tryharding and you have Alt 5, do Iron Warriors too. So like we saw at lots of times this like evocation thug expansion working real well. Like here it worked great, here it worked great, but these were like really light amounts of PD, which the buffs would have done fine as well. Basically, the evocation stuff kind of suffered when we ran into like heavy PD here. That's what we can kind of see. And he needs these mages to fight and kill all these chaff. So I expect next turn in next episode, we'll see a breakout fight here because the fort's cracked. I think Ubar has to take everything they have and throw it at this. So we'll see what happens. The other risk of doing this is I don't know how many Shaitan he has in labs. And we were talking the only real way for him to kill Dione, not the only way, there's always multiple ways to do things, but one of the ways to kill these Dione is with Holy Scourges. There are other ways, though. I don't want to say it's the only way. Decent number of chaff here. His god is out. It looks like it's sight searching. Blood Meridian. Chi has moved off of Hinnoms' capital and is taking the surrounding lands. He's probably going to go after these trolls. And I believe next turn will be the last turn for Hinnom, but we're pouring our cup out for Hinnom this turn. So that will end that column. With Lanka, he's fighting the elves, and the elves had made a bit of a resurgence. Lanka pinging this throne that the elves were in. These elves moving up north. And Atavi and some wolves taking out 1 PD, Alma losing 3 wolves. Gartha Scout. The elves pop up here with 8 She-Lords and 20 Tuatha. This is a very significant raiding party. Thing is that they're not really getting income from this. Like, this is deep raiding. They're not collecting income. They're inflicting some economic damage. But if you think about it, this is like a lose-lose. Now, they're in a war, so you need to take what damaging your enemy is valuable, right? So like, but in context of like winning the game, there's still a bunch of other people that might be taking much less lose-losey wars. Like one person's more decisively winning. So I don't know. I don't know. I don't know how these elves are going to do against a big stack of demons like this. I expect not very well. So it's probably safe to run them around like this and try to avoid the main parties, but it's also a little risky. Let's see what Lanka's doing here. He's retaking this province. It looks like he's going to summon some imps. Did he not cast any spells? What the fuck is this guy doing? Prepares to cast Animated Skeleton. What the fuck just happened? Oh, he's literally on hold. Huh. Yeah, not looking in a very good way for Lanka. The Neethel Giants battering into Tiernanag for apparently no reason other than just being a force of random cruel chaos in the game. And the elves have been beaten pretty silly, so it's a little unfortunate that they're having to deal with this. My heart does go out to the elves, which is not a phrase that comes out of my mouth very often, I'll just say. This army's sitting here. We've got more Agarthan troops trickling down to the Lanka front. And I believe that's it for this column. Moving over to the Vanheim Micklin front, where there's no wars, but we'll look at the troop positioning. This is a big army coming over this way. I mean, it's not a tremendous amount, but like it's probably at least 60 Aussies. And we see some Eagle Warriors over here. Just a lot of stuff that's going to be funneling its way this way. Meanwhile, over here, there's almost nothing still. And Micklin has gone to take this throne. This will be a kind of cool battle. It's probably one of the more popcorny things we've had this episode. So let's take a look at what these mages have been casting. He's got some Nahuli who've been casting Body Ethereal. He's been casting Quickness with his Rain Priests, Body Ethereal, Quickness, and then Bloodlust. And then his Prophet. And then this guy doing, oh my god, he's got Solar Eclipse. Oh, that's so fucking dope. I mean, what are the odds is Micklin you get this guy and you're doing fucking Solar Eclipse? Yeah, look at these murder kitties. Look at them. 330 damage attacks with 24 attack. Meanwhile, these guys, 2 defense. I mean, holy shit. Look at 25. They kill 183 dudes. Let's watch that again. Just watch what happens when these cats land. I think they got painted by the Quickness. Yeah, they're the preferential target for Quickness and Ethereal buffs. And so just watch what happens. That's so brutal. They just kill things so fast. Wow. It's the Throne of Air. I don't think that's going to help against Vanheim particularly, but it's still nice. And we don't know what research Vanheim has. But we're going to get treated to a really nice battle next episode. So I hope you guys are enjoying. Next episode, we're going to have probably the beginning of the Vanheim-Micklin War. And hopefully we see things develop with Lanka and Tiernanag. Unfortunately, or no, really at Lanka and Agartha, because I think with the losses Tiernanag's had and with the Frost Giants attacking them, they're pretty beat up right now. But potentially Agartha's going to attack. We could see some big fireworks. And of course, we have Yomi and Ubar fighting in a very high stakes battle. So tune in next time, see what happens, and until then, take care.